Hey everyone, and welcome to the FAQ Shack, the show where we, dive deep into all your favorite lore. And this one's actually a special request. We got a comment from @FireGod100 that just said, I like these kind of videos. And hey, that's all the inspiration we need. So today, we're doing just that. Let's jump right in.
So we're talking about a guy who lived for 200 years, who became a monster, a leader, and then a god? Yeah, it sounds pretty crazy. Today, we are unpacking the epic, tragic, and just plain bizarre life of one of Fallout's most enduring characters, Harold. His story, man, it's one for the ages.
So where do you even start with a story like that? Well, to really get it, we have to go way back to the beginning, before the mutation that, let's be real, would define and ultimately consume his entire life.
You see, Harold wasn't always Harold. I mean, the ghoul-like guy we see in the games. He was just a regular person, born in 2072, just a few years before the bombs dropped. He actually survived the Great War as a little kid, only 5 years old, tucked away in Vault 29. Can you imagine? Then, at 18, he steps out into this brand new broken world. And you know what? He didn't just survive, he thrived. He became a super successful caravan boss in the hub, a real go-getter.
But of course, this is the Wasteland. Things don't stay good for long. His business, his caravans, they started getting hit by these weird, really violent mutant attacks. So what do? Well, Harold and his buddy, a super smart guy named Dr. Richard Gray, they decided they'd had enough. They put together an expedition to go find out what the heck was going on.
And their search, it didn't just lead them to some cave full of rad roaches. Oh no, it led them somewhere way worse, the Mariposa Military Base. A place with some seriously dark pre-war secrets just waiting deep inside. And once they got inside, it all went wrong. I mean, horribly wrong. The whole expedition just got wiped out. And then, in the very last room, this crazy encounter with a giant robotic crane. That was it. That's the moment that sealed both their fates. Harold and Richard Gray, their lives were about to change forever.
So, get this. Gray gets chucked, like a rag doll, into this massive vat of glowing green goo. The force of it knocks Harold out cold, but not before he gets a huge dose of whatever was in the air. And that was the beginning of the end for the man he was. His transformation had started, and there was no going back.
So what was this green stuff? Well, it was the Forced Evolutionary Virus, or FEV for short. And yeah, it changed everything. This was some pre-war government's brilliant idea to make super soldiers. Classic hubris. Now for Harold, it didn't turn him into one of those giant green super mutants. No, his mutation was different. It turned him into that one-of-a-kind, ghoulish guy we first meet.
So yeah, that was pretty much the end of his old life. His looks were gone, his business was gone, he just became a wanderer. But here's the thing about Harold. Even after losing literally everything, his story was nowhere near done.
I mean, the guy's resilience is just incredible. Think about it. When we meet him in Fallout 1, he's hit rock bottom. He's an outcast back in the hub, totally forgotten. But then, fast forward to Fallout 2, he's traveled way up north, and he's not just surviving, he's the respected foreman, pretty much the mayor, of Gecko. A whole town of ghouls, and they're running a nuclear power plant. He didn't just pick himself up, he built a whole new life. And the wildest part, through all of it, the mutation, the loss, everything, he somehow kept his sense of humor. It was a dark, cynical sense of humor for sure, but it was there. Like this quote on screen from him. Yep, but I'm doing great for being dead. I never get tired of the looks when I tell that one. That's pure Harold.
Okay, so we've got a question here from @WastelandWanderer88, and it's a really good one. They ask, I've heard about Harold in the West Coast games, but how on earth did he end up all the way in the Capital Wasteland? And yeah, for years fans were like, how did that happen? The guy's a West Coast legend. The answer? Well, it has to do with his weirdest friend yet. A little tree named Bob.
So after his time as mayor of Gecko, I guess Harold just got itchy feet again. He decided to just start walking. And he kept walking. For decades. He literally walked clear across what was left of the United States. Just an unbelievable journey.
Remember that tree, Bob? Well, sometime after he was exposed to the FEV, a tiny little sapling started growing right out of his head. He called it Bob, or Herbert. He wasn't picky. And as he walked east, Bob just grew and grew and kept growing until it wasn't a sapling anymore. It was a full-on tree, and it was, slowly taking over.
And this incredible 200-year journey finally came to a stop in the Capital Wasteland.
And this is where his transformation takes its last, totally bizarre, and honestly, really tragic turn.
So picture this. Harold, after walking for who knows how long, sits down to take a break. Just a quick rest. But when he goes to get up, he can't move. He's stuck. He realizes that Bob's roots have grown right down through him, deep into the ground. He was literally rooted to the spot. He and the tree were now one thing.
And this is where the story gets even weirder, if you can believe it. A bunch of people find him, but they don't see a guy in unimaginable pain. They see this lush green paradise growing around him in the middle of a dead wasteland, and they see a god. So they start a cult, the Tree Minders. They worship him, call him the Great One, and protect his little grove, Oasis. And the most tragic part, whenever he begged them to end his suffering, they just thought it was some kind of holy test.
And that's where you, the player in Fallout 3, come in. The lone wanderer just happens to stumble across this place, Oasis, and you are suddenly faced with one of the absolute toughest, most memorable moral choices in the entire Fallout series. No joke.
So, the Tree Minders come to you, and you have three options. 1. You can do what Harold wants, find his heart deep underground and end his centuries of pain, a mercy kill. 2. You can help the tree, Bob, use a special concoction to make him grow faster, spreading seeds and life all over the Capital Wasteland, but Harold has to keep suffering. Or 3. You can stunt Bob's growth, keeping Oasis the way it is, but trapping Harold in that living prison forever.
Matt, Harold's story is so much more than just some weird side quest, right? It's this deep, heartbreaking look at what it even means to survive. It's classic Fallout, pre-war tech gone horribly wrong, but it asks these really heavy questions, like where's the line between being alive and just existing in a living hell? And is one person's agony worth it if it could maybe heal a broken world?
So what do? What's the right choice? End his suffering or use it to bring life back to the wasteland? There really is no easy answer here. I'd love to know what you all think is the right thing to do. Drop it in the comments, and hey, while you're there, let us know what piece of lore you want us to tackle next here on the FAQ Shack. As always, thanks for hanging out.